Early rounds with the brand new ban list, the massively impactful ban list where Signet Mining and Swap Frog have both together become unlimited.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Begin. What the? Oh, what? Oh, who passed? You passed. L. Ramley with no valid play. Birth does not trigger to banish cards in the grave unless you have a cash tier on the field. The Fool losses are not activatable if you set your called by the grave. Now, you could have the option of setting called by, use called by, and then after it's off the field, you could then follow up with the Fool losses. Otherwise, just Fool lost them. Got Fool lost in the Ash Blossom. Gear Frame is here. We're not going to be Ash Blossom negating the Gear Frame. Ain't no way. Search our deck for a Machina Unicla plus something. Machina what? On summon, you could send a Machina monster from your deck to the graveyard, and that's when we are going to negate. If we grabbed a Fortress off the Gear Frame, we'd have to discard another card to get it onto the field. I guess you'd still have to do that. This is kind of like the same thing. Why wouldn't we just maybe negate the Gear Frame first? As they now get to make the Gear Gigan X. Under the effect of Fool loss, that is. Detach and Exceeds material, grabbing the Ancient Gear statue, which requires your opponent to control more monsters than you do to special summon this card from your hand. Gear Town, while on the field at the moment, is not going to be doing anything. It has to be destroyed, and then it gets to summon an Ancient Gear from the deck. We're going to set up Divine Temple of the Snake Eye into the back row with our Snake Eye Diablo Star, chaining Maxi to the activation of the Diablo Star to special summon itself from the back row as we then cross out Designate, negate the Maxi. Now, the Snake Eye Diablo Star, a lot of people forget, it does have a removal effect. When it battles, it non-targets pushes an opponent's monster to the back row. Moon of the Closed Heaven, a lot of people are confused on Moon of the Closed Heaven, thinking that it's full Fiendsmith combo. It's not. We need another body on the field after we summon the Engraver. You gotta simply think about it. How do you get the Engraver engraved so it could use the Defector Reborn? We can't link over it. When we get Necroquip, that would be a way to get it into the graveyard. Or when we get Lacrima Crimson Tear, we could send it from the deck to the graveyard. We already used up our normal summon, so what's the play? We're gonna Requiem equip onto the Engraver. Well, just like that, the other body's now here. Doomed Dragon, using two of our back row cards, thanks to the Requiem and the Ash Blossom in the back row, gives us our second body as we then push the Gear Gigan X into the back row. And now, we're making plays. But are we making lethal plays? 8,000 damage is the way. Lacrima is essentially 3,600 damage. As we're going to be adding the Engraver Engrave back to the hand, we're going to discard it, search our deck for the track. Track is going to be searching for the Lurie, discard Lurie, reborn that Lurie. With the Lurie on field, we're going to want to get it engraved so we could reborn our Engrave Engraver. Engraver to the field. Is this enough damage? It's not. 5,700 plus the Lacrima burning for 12. We need 6,800 damage. Once this says 68 like it does right now, it's over. Yeah, or it could just be over 8,000. There you go. 6,800 plus getting Lacrima and Graveyard would burn for the final 1,200. We had more than enough for lethal damage, just like that. This was lethal damage of the Bestial. Had they summoned a Bestial before the Diablo Star attack, Diablo Star could push it into the back row, and then we inflict the rest of the damage for a Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am for game. Let's hop into game number 2, where Mirage is going to, again, push El Ramley to go first. We do want to go second with our deck, right? I think so. Pressure Planet into the Fool loss. If you Fiendsmith tracked with a Birth on field plus Unicorn, you're the turn player. So what's going to happen is the resolution of your Fiendsmith tracked is your Lurie triggering Engrave as the turn player. The non-turn player, Kashtira Birth, it's going to be the higher chain link. Higher chain link's going to banish your Lurie before it even summons. It completely counters it. So this is a great way not only to add to your turn 1, but even for your turn 2, going second. A free Unicorn in the field plus Birth could help break some fields. Now, in addition to the Unicorn Birth play, which I'm not going to count inherently as a form of disruption, we do have triple Apollo USA negate. In Grave, we do not have a Promethean Princess. And let's see what we can do from here. We do have a Maxi, though. Maxi right away. We could chain the Urgent Schedule. Urgent Schedule will be special summoning, quick effect. And I think the best time to use Maxi is the standby phase. Why is that? Why do we have to play annoyingly and wait for the standby phase when we could just use it in the draw phase? Well, because Droll and Lockbird is so immensely prevalent, people are going to want to play around a card like Droll by activating any potential card in the draw phase that may trigger Droll and Lockbird where Droll cannot be used. So if you wait for them to start a quick play effect in the draw phase that maybe initiates a special summon, you get more use out of your Max C to chain it to that card. That's how you would play against a deck like Purely. Because for all I know, that this would have just been activated in the draw phase anyway. This also, by activating this in the draw phase, could play around a card like, let's say, Masquerena, where they have to wait for you to perform an action in your main phase before activating Masquerena. So if you make your plays in the draw phase, so your very first play within the main phase could be something with your monster on the field, you get to make that play before Masquerena. Just standby phase your Fool Loss and Maxi instead if that's when you intend to use it. Now, what do we have here? Triggering the Divine Temple to summon a Poplar from the back row, searching for our follow-up play. These two monsters are both negated. We have the Ancient Gear Advance grabbing the Ancient Gear Fortress. Now, Ancient Gear Fortress is one of the craziest cards ever. Your opponent cannot target Ancient Gear monsters you control at card effects the turn they're summoned. They cannot be destroyed by card effects, but also your opponent cannot activate any cards or effects in response to the activation of an Ancient Gear card or effect. This is insane. Now, we also have the Clifford Genius here. This link summons unaffected by spell and trap cards. We're going to be able to target a card face up on each field, except this card, negate the effects of both of those cards. So it will force out the Goddess activation, get negated, and then we're now big enough to swing over the Goddess. This will also trigger the Unicorn to look at the extra deck. Ooh, say goodbye to our main Ancient Gear Fusion that we only play one of. Wait, we have two Ancient Gear Fusions already banished. Ultimate Ancient Gear and Chaos Ancient Gear are gone, so our Ancient Gear Fusion plays are completely screwed. We have Wyvern into Statue, special summon the Statue, Statue summon from the deck into the Tanker. Tanker on summon is going to be reborning the Statue back in the field as we now make the Ancient Gear Ballista. Ballista could reduce the attack of a monster to 0, but the Apollo's already at 0. We have Regulus equipping from the Graver to come forth and summon. If we draw Lockbird, it will lock us up also in stopping us from being able to draw. It not only reduces the attack to 0, but also the defense. We now have the Ancient Gear Town getting popped by the Tanker, triggering the effect of summon from the deck, a Gear Dark Golem. Over 13,000 damage on the field. We're going to grab the Ancient Gear Duel plus the Commander. Commander can play the Ancient Gear Duel into our back row face up. That's exactly what we're doing right now with the Commander. To battle phase we go. Dark Golem, disallowing them from activating any spell or trap cards while it is attacking. Wyvern doing the same. Open field, is this enough for game? We do have the Regulus, which could also negate any card or effect activation. And just like that, despite having none of our fusions in our extra deck, as all of them have been banished face down, we have still won the duel. Now, Al Ramley has the option to make a go second deck go first. Is that what we would want to do? Let's find out. Ancient Gear Advance on the activation. We're going to negate its ability to add an Ancient Gear spell / trap from the deck. And just like that, we have no more hand traps. We have Commander on the field plus the Bullet Train special summoning itself alongside it, making an Ancient Gear Ballista. I would be expecting an Apollo USA play. We're going to grab the Gearbox. Gearbox is going to be searching for the Tunneler. Tunneler is going to be tributing an Earth Machine to special summon. Will we have enough to make an Apollo USA? We have Infinite Track Goliath now here. Sure. The Advance will be tributing it to draw a card. Are we ending our turn? No Apollo? Bro, I don't think we do anything. And this states that you cannot set cards the turn you activate this card. So we drew into an Urgent Schedule we couldn't set. to activate on their turn. And we can't activate it unless the opponent controls more monsters than we do. There's just nothing we could do. What were we hoping to draw into? Damn, that is really unfortunate. You know, at least in our best of 3 duels, our go second deck was able to go second twice. So I think that was fair. Thank you to both of you. Let's hop into another match. We have Refrain on summon searching for an area. We're going to be using the Couplet. Couplet will be searching for nothing as the Ghost Ogre stops the search for the Concerto, which would allow us to fuse with our back row. Damn, what a play. Ogre completely stopping a massive turn 1. That could have popped off into anything. It could have gone into the Snake Eye engine. 10 minutes deleted. I think Ghost Ogre is really rising in prevalence due to the Sinful Spoils. Very good card. We're going to have the Evil Twin, Kisa Kill. Further going, it's a Light freaking Fiend, mate. Ain't no way. Light Fiend into the Engraver from the deck. And we're going to be further linking this up into Leela. We're not going into sequence. Leela is going to be reborning the Kisa Kill on summon, pop a card, or actually that's the one that draws. It is the Leela that destroys. We're now under the effect of Droll, as we now summon our Trouble Sunny. Trouble Sunny will be tributing to trigger the effect of Leela to now. We're going to pop a card in the field. Come forth and summon, wiping out the impermanence. There's nothing worth imperming. And now we're going to use the Engraver, returning back the Requiem to reborn itself to now go into the sequence. Very nice. Live Twin is full Fiendsmith combo, but you also draw a card plus destroy a card into your plays. Reborn the Kisa Kill with the Lacrima. That's you gotta remember with the newer way of Konami designing cards is they have removed all the restrictions. The cards don't say target a Fiendsmith, reborn a Fiendsmith, search a Fiendsmith. Fiendsmith tracked searches for any light fiend in the game. It's crazy. Now what we have here is with the Nightmare Griffin perfectly positioned into the main monster zone in the middle, this card is balanced by having an up arrow. The up arrow means that if your opponent special summons a monster to where the arrow is pointing to, their monster will be able to activate their effects because our restriction is special summon monsters cannot activate unless they are linked. Well, there's no way to get linked here. If we summon to the top right extra monster zone, this is not a link with the Kisa Kill, and none of our special summons will be working. We also have the Abominable Chamber. What is this going to reborn and unchain from the hand or graveyard, but we have nothing to be summoning. Okay, what's good? That's enough. We got Floodgated. Nightmare Griffin Floodgate plus the Ogre stopping the Couplet play. Well done. Refrain. Ash, negate, Herald of Orange Light, negate, the negate. Itoli has the great effect of non-target spinning the opponent's cards back to their hand. And with the area on field, what it states is, Melodious monsters cannot be targeted, nor be destroyed by battle. Cannot be targeted by card effects. Can still be destroyed by card effects. So no impermanence in sight. And we have the Herald of Orange Light in addition to the Itoli, in addition to the Ash and the Droll and Lockbird. This is 4 disruption. How do you break this field? You could, if it can't destroy by battle, can't target by card effects, a card like Goddess could potentially be a good play to do. Looking at the extra deck here, it doesn't look like we inherently have any way. We have Desiree. Desiree with the non-target negate is actually a good way to negate the area. The Requiem and the Engraver targets, so that would not work. I think Desiree is going to be the main way, yes? Live Twin Sunny Snitch is going to be searching for our Kisa Kill, getting hit by that Droll and Lockbird. Now, I've always talked about baiting. You want to bait with some other plays before making your main play. And I talked about the difference between the TCG and OCG, where in the TCG, they would say it's correct to Ash a bonfire because no one in their right mind is going to bait the duel by starting with a bonfire. They're only going to use bonfire when they need it. But the game has now changed. The game has changed where now Droll is way too prevalent, where I would unironically tell you to not start your turn with Pot of Greed or you're going to get hit by Droll and Lockbird. So if we baited by using the Sunny Snitch and now we're under Droll, that is not a good idea. Now, we are going to Kisa Kill summon from the deck into the Herald of Orange Light, negating. Negate and destroy. We do have the Shavara, which could summon, which is not even worth summoning. What? We would set the secret password, pop it. We're in big trouble. Now, very easily, we should be setting up lethal damage. Ash, negate the couplet, mate, no search for the Concerto. Again, go next, right? I think that we are definitely going to be winning this right here, right now. Let's speed this up. Bloom, Harmonist again. Discard, get Reborning. We're going to add back the couplet. We still have our Pendulum Summon. Couplet triggering when added to Reborn or summon from the hand. And just like that, Swasi Senpai surrendering. All because the Ash got negated by the Herald of Orange Light. You need to be playing more hand traps. You need a ton. This is a bad turn one if we were to go first, but I guess both of you had a bad turn one. Swasi, how many one-card combos you got in your deck, mate? You got the full Fiendsmith. I'm not trying to rub this in your face, but damn, I'm just saying your deck is built well and super consistently. You just got really unlucky here. I feel for you. But so did Feel the Power. What the heck? Feel the Bricks. Holy moly. Now, Area has no effect. Only while special summoned does she gain the additional abilities. She's basic 1600. Weaker than an Axe Raider. All right, sure. We do have an Ogre now. Ogre can be used onto the couplet. Grab the couplet. Couplet will be activating to search for the Concerto. This is a great Ogre. We already learned that within the very first duel where it completely ended their turn. But with double Melodious in the field, we know that that could potentially be the Bloom Harmonist. On Link Summon, discard a card, but there is an Impermanence. There also is an Ash Blossom. And ideally, because this activates on Summon, you want to have this on the lower chain link with something else chain link blocking this. You never want this to get ashed. Discard our Ash. Max C. We are not Imperm negating. Really? Unless we were just baiting. Baiting the Ash to then Imperm? Or call by the Graving, even. Oh, Swasi does not care about this resolving. Interesting. We really need to draw into a play. So instead of stopping the Bloom Harmonist, which it's not activatable every turn. It's not something where you just in an open game state discard to keep on summoning, which I don't think he thinks it's that. Huh. I guess maybe that's still worth it, right? We do have our plays now. We have Secret Password into the Sunny Snitch. Triple Imperm in the back row. Holy moly. We got the Kisa Kill Imperm away. Couldn't we chain the... No, we cannot. This is not a Light Fiend. They become Light Fiends. Now, by summoning this, we are locked into Fiend-type monsters only, but that's okay, because we're summoning a Fiend. Shavara is here. Soul of Rage, trigger the Shavara to set from the deck. Our Chamber can reborn the Shavara or the Soul of Rage. We got the Soul of Rage, wiping you out. Now, during the main phase here, we could use its effect to link off of the special summon monster to then further go into, let's say, a Little Knight for banishing. I'll expect an Imperm, though. Nicely done. Now, you may be thinking, why would you not Soul of Rage before it activates? You can't, and it's activating a Fusion Summon. So as long as your first action in the main phase, the very first one, even if you set a card, it would then be activatable, is the main play you want to make. Attempt an Fusion Summon here. Imperm, negate the Soul of Rage. And with this Fusion Summon, we're going to be going into a Botcha, yes? Botcha's here on Summon. Summon from the deck. This is not ashable. So you do want to bait them into ashing by putting it on the highest chain link. Trick them. Do not chain link block this effect. Botcha, summon the Refrain, equip the Refrain and the couplet. It's so insane. that Fusion Summon here triggers your Pendulum Scales. Absolute madness. And I would encourage you, if you know you're playing against a deck that plays Pendulum Scales whatsoever, or maybe if you don't know, your Imperm should be in the Pendulum Scale areas, just for a tiny extra benefit where maybe you'd want to Imperm the Couplet here. Grab the Concerto. Concerto is going to be fusing with both Pendulum Scales plus the Boccia into the Atoli, which will trigger the Boccia Engraved to Reborn. Atoli is now ready to non-target spin face-up cards back to the extra deck. We have Shapina adding back the Soprano. Soprano is not a hard once per turn, activatable more than once. We got Shiberta, which could banish cards within the graveyard. So in response to the chamber, we could Shiberta get banishing. Now, that was the end of the damage step, thus the Shiberta was not activatable. It's only activatable before the damage calculation. We have Imperm on the Atoli so that it's not able to return the Shavara back to the hand to then go for game. Negate. As we wipe out that Shavara, I don't think we have anything left to set from the deck. No, we do not. Shiberta has not used its hard once while face-up effect to banish from the grave. Ready with that play off the top of the deck. It's not even worth playing the rest of this duel out. Thus, we have scooped it up to Melodious.